Oh, hey friends, it's your bad couch guru, Lynn Lindbergh, back here again. And I just love so much hearing from Jae Gruenke. Jay, did I say that right?
Yes, you
Nope.
did.
Okay. About the balanced runner system. And she has that 1 week free learn how to run thing. I know I didn't say that quite right, but we know what you mean. But Jay, I wanted to bring you back so folks could learn a little bit more about you as a human because so much of the time we see running professionals and people who've been running their whole life and we feel like they don't really get us. And so I'd love to hear more about you because when I first met you, I just thought, oh, she's just been running her whole life. And I learned that's not true. So, Jay, tell us a little bit more about Jay the human.
Sure. So, yeah, I got into this because I struggled with running, and it was figuring out how to solve my own problems that made me feel like I wanted nothing more than to help others do the same.
Hmm.
So, I actually was honestly kind of sedentary through high school, like end of grade school, high school, just a huge bookworm, really.
Hmm.
And uh, in college, I started dancing. I realized I had actually always wanted to do that,
Mm.
and was playing catch up with everybody who'd been dancing since they were 8, and went to moved to New York City, became a professional dancer, and really was forcing things kind of in my body, and ended up with really bad Achilles tendonitis, and like doctors
Ooh.
saying you'll never dance again, and
Okay. Wait. So you were a bookworm, which I love that because our generation gets that, right? We know, like when we were kids, you're either a jock or a nerd or a reader, and so you put yourself in that bookworm box
yeah.
of, yeah. And then college is when you started dancing and you made it to the New York,
I,
where,
well, I moved to New York City. I became a professional modern dancer
no
in New York
way.
City. Yeah,
Oh
I
my gosh.
I really I had such good fortune to have someone who mentored me through college and kind of helped me make it happen. But the learning curve was ongoing, right? Because
Hmm.
I had to kind of muscle my technique because I just didn't have the length of background that other people
Hmm.
had. And I don't have a super Gumby body, so to speak. And so it all came crashing down in my mid to late 20s. I got really bad, yeah, Achilles tendonitis, and I couldn't walk without pain. I stopped
Dang.
dancing over a year, and then somebody ended up referring me to a Feldenkrais practitioner, so Feldenkrais method of movement education.
Hmm.
In a few weeks, I was able to walk without pain, and when I went back to dancing, I was a much better dancer than I had ever been before because
Wow.
fundamentally all the coordination things are just there for me.
Oh, wow.
So then I was able to have the career I wanted. And then running didn't even come into the picture until many years later when I was working for a choreographer, and I needed to have endurance and run in those pieces, and I was just getting winded and dying. And so I thought I better
we
train
have
for
we have
this.
no idea what you're
No
talking
idea what
about.
I'm talking about, right?
No experience. No, completely
We know there are
unrelatable.
different kinds of fitness, right? I was a dancer, I danced all day, but always in bursts. So a continuous effort. I didn't have that kind of fitness. And that's not naturally me anyway. But I thought, well, I better train for this. So I started trying to run, and it felt horrible. And I felt like a stumpy dwarf. I was like hitting the ground like a ton of bricks. It was struggle. And that seemed wrong because
Hmm.
why couldn't I just run if I could dance?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was training to become a Feldenkrais practitioner, and I used my Feldenkrais professional training as my laboratory to work out what the difference was between how I was running, quote unquote,
Hmm.
and how people who looked gazelle like and like they were feeling good ran.
Yeah.
And I was able to solve that puzzle and get
Hmm.
myself to where running felt great. And in fact, I even preferred it to dancing. And at that same time, I was kind of finished dancing anyway. I'd done what I wanted. So I
Wow.
retired from dancing, and opened a Feldenkrais practice that I called the Balanced Runner. And since then, been working with runners 17 years, beginner to Olympian.
That's awesome. And when you say you got to where you just running felt great, what was that tipping point?
Well, it was a couple things. It was learning that I needed to lean forward in a particular way. You know, dancers kind of lift their, especially ballet trained, they kind of lift their chest and they kind of flatten their necks, and they're organized to go, when they jump, to go up as opposed to forward. And so I had to learn how to change that stuff and make myself more flexible so that I could roll forward instead of springing up. Yeah, let my chest go down and let my hips move, and that's something I want every runner to know, and even every walker, like that your pelvis is supposed to move. It's part of the system. And when it does, everything gets easier. Easier is your sign that you're doing it the way it really works.
Ah, see, I like that. I like easy. I like anything that makes it easier. Okay, so for folks assuming that you only work with elite athletes, Olympians, all that, you and I were talking. We learned that's not true. Talk about some stereotypes that you've seen a client break for yourself, yeah, or for themselves. I'll just say it like that stereotype is that running is for the skinny people or for the people who are like already fit, or and if you're fat, you can't run. Yeah, break that stereotype for us.
I mean, like I said, running is your human birthright, and it really is made to work for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I've definitely had clients. I have one in particular that I'm thinking of, who was, she was heavy. She really wanted to learn how to run. And she knew she really wanted that, but she was really struggling with a belief, even though she was becoming pretty fit from other fitness activities she was doing, that she couldn't shake, that she was too heavy to run. And, and everyone will tell you you're too heavy to run. And yeah, the gazelles look skinny and everybody like is a gazelle, that I even talked to a heavy woman once who was struggling with IT band syndrome, and she went to the doctor, and her doctor diagnosed her and said, okay, take a moment and look at yourself, and then think what runners look like, and
Ah,
think maybe you're just not supposed to run.
oh my gosh, I was just about to say that we hear over and over and over again that folks who are overweight are told like they're just given so many more limitations.
They
So
are.
yeah,
And I this woman who told me this story, it was just like at a party, but I was like, then she went on to talk about something else. And I had to say, no, just wait a minute. I'm still trying to recover from the story
yeah,
you just told. It's
absolutely,
just like,
yeah,
is
yeah,
outrageous. So anyway,
yeah.
the earlier woman I'm thinking of that really wanted to shake that, she really wanted to learn how to run. She went through my online running camp, and still somewhere in her head it was the idea that maybe I have to lose weight before this will really work. But catch 22 had anyway. uh, she got through to the end of the camp, and her running felt so much better. Her feet that she thought hurt because she was too heavy, they just stopped hurting, and she hadn't lost any weight.
I love
And
it.
she had that smooth flowing feeling that we all in our hearts, like when you have a dream that you're running and it
Yeah.
feels like that, like that's not fantasy, that's species memory, like, and it doesn't matter your weight.
Uh huh.
That's You're meant to have that, and you can.
You can do it. Yeah. I usually dream that I'm on a slippery floor and I can't run away from whatever's chasing me because my
Oh,
feet are just like
uh,
sliding underneath me. So what would Freud say about that? But but it's awesome because when people talk about the injury thing, you can get injured running if you're skinny, you can get injured running if you're fat, and doing something like the balanced runner where you really learn how to do it correctly, it dramatically reduces any chance of injury.
yes.
And not doing too much too soon is how you monitor that.
Yes, exactly. I mean, as I always say, is like, to mostly people come to me because they're injured, right? Because pain is the great motivator. I always tell them, look, I can look at how you're running and tell you why you got that injury. Why the stress happened there and the breakdown happened there. But why you got injured at all is a completely different question. And it has to do with stress versus recovery and getting that balance wrong. Everyone's going to break down at their weakest link if you get that balance wrong. So I help people with their weakest link and getting to where it feels good, but people also need to be sensible and progress slowly and not be in a rush to get in.
What we say here, your fastest path to success is injury-free.
Yes. And that's true even for elite runners, like it's very hard for them not to overtrain because they have such drive, and then they
Mm-hmm.
get injured. And the strongest indicator of whether a runner is going to be successful is, are they able to put together an injury-free training block? This is, it's the same issue for everybody.
You've got on balancedrunner.com, if folks go there and find a 1 week free challenge to get folks started. And Jae, I want to have you on one more time here.
Okay, I would love to do that.
Oh, yay. Because we want to talk about some of the running myths. And so next time I have you on, we will talk about that. So
Awesome.
it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Exercise should not be dreadful, but getting off the couch is the hardest thing we do. And so, Couch to Active has an all-new website to match our all-new world we live in now. Head over to couchtoactive.com and finish step number 1 today. Did you know that Couch to Active has an app? It's the easiest way to keep track of and follow the Couch to Active podcast. So head on over to your app store, and it doesn't matter whether you're on an iPhone, a tablet, or an Android device. Search for Couch to Active, that's T-O Active. Download the app and check it out. Bye-bye now.